In this session, we'll set the scene for our avatar that we created in an earlier module. To make it easy for everyone, I've already added all the elements we need for this session on slide 1. On slide 2, we can have a look at what we are aiming to achieve. We want to build a rainy mountain landscape with clouds in the sky, grass and bushes at the base, and a sun positioned to the right outside the canvas. In the upcoming session, we'll animate the sun to rise into the scene and gradually push the rain away, bringing the landscape to life. So, let's begin setting up the scene. Start by creating a new slide, then head back to slide 1 and open up the selection pane. In the selection pane, select the dirt, grass, and bushes. Don't forget that you can select multiple objects at once by holding down the control key. After you select them, copy and paste them into the new slide you just created. For me, that's slide 2. The dirt, grass, and bushes are in vector format, meaning you can change and control each individual piece however you like. A side effect of working with vector objects is that when you paste them into a new slide, they show up as grouped objects, with all their individual shapes unfolded inside the group. To stay organized and maintain better visibility in the selection pane, go ahead and click the small arrows next to each group name to collapse the groupings. This will make it much easier to manage everything as we continue building the scene. Next, head back to slide 1 and copy the mountains. Paste them into your new slide. You'll need to resize the mountains so that they stretch across the entire width of the canvas. Once resized, drag the mountains slightly downward to better frame the scene. In an earlier module, I taught you about the X, Y, and Z dimensions. This is a great opportunity to quickly revisit that concept. The Z dimension controls depth, what appears in front and what appears behind. Right now, you'll notice the mountains are placed above the dirt, grass, and bushes, which doesn't really make sense visually. We want the mountains to appear in the background. So, open the selection pane and drag the mountains group down below the other objects to correctly layer the scene. Head back to slide 1 and copy the cloud group, then paste them into your new slide. After pasting, resize and reposition the clouds toward the left side of the canvas. Then, duplicate the cloud group and place the second set just to the right of the first, extending them slightly beyond the edge of the slide. In the next session, we'll animate the clouds so they gently fly across the screen alongside the sun. You can rename and reposition the cloud groups in the selection pane for easier management. Let's head back to slide 1 and copy the rectangle sky background. Paste it into your new slide and resize it. You don't necessarily have to make it fill the entire screen. Just below the bottom of the mountains should be enough. Since we want it as a background, we need to adjust its Z position in the selection pane. Make sure to drag it all the way down below the mountains to ensure the layering looks correct. Once again, head back to slide 1. This time, let's copy the sun, paste it into your new slide, and resize it. Just like we did with the sky, make sure it spans the entire width of the canvas and that its height stays below the mountains. If you select the sun, you can use the arrow keys to nudge it outside the canvas. This ensures it only moves along the x-axis, maintaining its vertical alignment. Once it's fully off-screen, adjust its Z position in the selection pane so it sits just below the sky layer. We also need to bring in the transparent rain GIF from slide 1. Copy and paste it into your new slide and resize it accordingly. Ideally, the rain should start just below the clouds and end somewhere above the ground layer. In the selection pane, adjust its Z order so that it sits above the mountains but below the ground. It wouldn't make sense for the mountains to block the rain, or for it to rain beneath the ground. Moving on to the flower we created in an earlier module. Select all three growth stages in the selection pane by holding down Control. Then copy and paste them into your new slide. Just like we did with the clouds, go ahead and collapse the groupings in the selection pane to keep things tidy and manageable. Then adjust the Z order by dragging the flower groups below the bushes. This way, the bottom part of the plant, which originally sat in a flower pot, will now be naturally hidden behind the bushes, making it blend better into the scene. Lastly, copy the 3D bird, the avatar, and the two audio files from slide 1 and paste them into your new slide. You can drag the sound icons up to the top left corner for now. It doesn't really matter where they're placed, as they'll be hidden during the active slideshow. In the next session, we'll begin setting up the animations and timing for the sun, rain, and clouds, and we'll sync the sound effects to match, bringing the entire scene to life. You can go ahead and delete slide 1 now